Hi everyone, this is Arjuna here, aka Professional High Priestess, and I just had to put out this metaphysical talk. I'm gonna rename this Metaphysical Talk and Tease, and then I'm gonna put it on Unlisted and then post it on my Patreon. But I wanted to talk about this karmic mothers and spiritual cannibalism. And one of the things that you guys have to understand is sometimes it's an unfortunate thing that the social conditioning and the emotional conditioning of what a mother should be blinds us from seeing what we're actually dealing with the spiritual warfare. And it's unfortunate, but it's kind of like you guys remember in that movie, what's that thing called, A Ripple in Time, and her little brother got caught up by the kamazats. She knew, she felt like, because he had been taken over not so long, and she knew how to kind of get that kamazat in him, and she knew it was her little brother in there. But it was unfortunate that he was being so evil because of the kamazat, which is the entity attachment. But in this instance, unfortunately, over long periods of time, you become the kamazat, right? So it's like she got him out right at the right second in time. So these karmic mothers, they get taken over by kamazat spirits, and they begin to vampirize off of you and try to cannibalize off of you because the entity attachment that is on them wants to eat your light. That's why they try to belittle you and shape you to be who they think you should be, which is like a subservient image and of who they think you should be, right? That appeases their ego. It's like this narcissistic extension of self. They feel like you're just another extension of their self and they can do whatever they want to you. That's the primary mechanism, narcissism. Then you add parenting on top, it adds another lack of a boundary that enhances the narcissism, right? That they can't normally enact with other people. That's why when your parent is with you and then when they're with other people, it's like a dichotomy, two separate different individuals, because the added layer of narcissism is at play with you. So a lot of these mothers, they want to vampirize off you, cannibalize off you, because you also carry that Venusian energy that they lost through maybe the pregnancy process, or not being difficult, or through not restoring themselves, or dealing with toxic men and social conditions like Jim Crow, or just abuse, or economic factors, or domestic partner violence, or being from a certain culture, immigrant as well, needing to feel like they can compete in a white supremacist society and all that type of stuff, and be a good immigrant, all that type of stuff. Then add racism on top of that while being an immigrant. It's a whole other ball game. So it's like there's all these different things going on, and then they see you as like the target and the issue for them, because it's like they feel like their life is surrounded around taking care of you, although they fail to realize that they brought you into the reality. Now it's this kind of thing, like they can, in order to maintain that mental illness and the narcissism, they have to continue parentalizing you, putting these figures and these roles on you as if you're an adult when you're a child, to justify the abuse and the narcissism and the gaslighting and things like that. Then on top of that, factor in mental health problems, prior abuse or trauma, and then toxic relationships of romance and things like that. And then have you as their child may interact or be impacted by their relationship, and that adding a layer of cognitive dissonance that they can't even handle, So it's just several layers of disconnect that end up lining up. And it's like, when you're trying to play Tetris and you're trying to line the bars up so it can go down. With them, it's like you try to line the bars up, but then there's hella gaps, and then it's just eventually all the shit just fills up, and then you lose the game, right? It's like that type of thing. You can't make a straight line with them, and those lines are the layers of cognitive dissonance and lack of connections that are not being made in the cerebral cortex and the nervous system for whatever reason, being trauma, poverty, abuse, multiple, having too many kids, drug addiction, things like that. Also, we talked about the need to perform, social factors, okay? So you have to take into consideration all of that. We bring in the Kamazat spirit, because over time all those factors, that cocktail turns into a Kamazat spirit towards you, and they see you as a source of light to consistently feed off of. But you don't understand this because in your mind you're growing up with them. So you don't understand all these different things, and God help you if you surpass them in your understanding, then you become the target of bullying and shit like that, and or them playing the victim of, oh, you think you're so smart, or shit like that, or trying to put more abuse on you to try to weaken your mind and put you down to their standards. That's why the physical abuse occurs. Also toxic karmic fathers as well. So for those of my masculines in there, I'm picking this up for you too. I got you. For my masculines, okay? So, it's the same toxic process, but with the mothers and the daughters, it's different because that feminine energy is there and they watch you grow into your body, things like that. Some of them, they purposely bring foods and men and things like that around the house to destroy your body or cause problems for you, right? They purposely don't groom you or take care of you so then they can have something to complain about to other people or to what was me or to feel good, like, okay, my child is whatever. So that's one thing I don't have to worry about. Like, it's a weird, fucked up dynamic because some of them, their whole mind is competition and how to be perfect and how to be better than, because it's ego and low self-esteem, right? For the masculines and you and your father, it's competition as well. Maybe you were taller than them, or there could even be colorism involved, or, they saw women attracted to you very early and they felt inadequate. So they were always maybe trying to beat your ass or cause problems for you or make fun of you or belittle you, or you think you're so bad and, or you think you're so tall, I'll still beat your ass, some ratchet ass shit like that. Cause I've seen that too. Treating you like some thug in the street, like some nigga to beef with or some shit like that. It creates problems in the mind. Or even for some of you guys, like immigrant fathers, like you're not doing good enough. And then, queer too, drama on top of that and beatings, like I'm going to beat you into straightness, fuckery, but not being able to tell them of maybe abuse and trauma and things like that. So it's like you're suffering with two hells. I see that and I understand, and you're going to heal from that. Trust me. It's now understanding that there's that Kamaza spirit in them that's attacking you and who you are and your freeness. It's a form of cannibalism. We talked about this in the coaching groups that I do with Tico. They have a mind virus. And in the native traditions, they talk about this with Tico, the need to want to cannibalize other people, to consume another. And it's also the same concept of domo como that we talk about too. Eventually they consume the other head. They don't see you as a separate person outside of them. They see you as an extension, a second head or a second arm or a second pair of legs to continue their journey in this reality. Because some were even too young to even be having kids, or they were mentally unstable when they were having kids, or a trauma happened when they were raising you. You shouldn't feel any type of way about it. It's not your fault. You shouldn't blame yourself. You shouldn't feel like you did anything. Some of you guys were like, well, I fought back and I was bad, or I stole and things like that. You were young. You were a child. As a parent, why aren't you setting up containers for your child to economically gain as a young person? Or something like that. And I'll guarantee you something. Yeah. Or a summer program or some shit like that. Or get good grades or something like that. Incentivize. Duh. Some of them feel like they needed to rule with an iron fist and an iron glove too. That whole notion, I'll put you in the world, I'll take you out of it, that's narcissistic as fuck. And then you would develop a complex over time that also impacts your connection to higher power. It's a really good book, a melody called Facing Codependency. It really talks about how those type of dynamics can impact your connection to your higher source, your higher power, your spiritual center, and then the Most High too. Because the parent is trying to replace themselves as God. And then it becomes a problem too when you go out into the world. Either they do it overtly or they try to do it covertly to create this continuous narcissistic cycle that's hella toxic and fucking dysfunctional. That's why some of your parents, even though you may be grown, they still try to treat you like you're like whatever age, like 5, 10, 15 or something like that. And it's also sexually disrespectful. It's incestuous and it's disrespectful and it's fucking weird, but it's also their trauma that they need to like get over. And then, sometimes you think about like how sometimes now you got kids and you don't want that to transfer over. Don't cry about it. Don't feel like all hope is lost. Just to start to identify the dynamics and work on it with your kids. Because it's better that you do it now versus them being 18, 19, 20 and wild as fuck. For those of you who have mothers that do spell work, it's the same process. They're trying to store energy that they feel like they gave to you. Think about the mental illness, sociopathy. Not all people need to have kids, because think about that. You're going to raise somebody to go out in the world. So if your mind is fucked off and you're trying to dominate somebody and train them the way you think, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? That's why parents can't stand you, because you didn't take the dysfunctional path, because you saw it, where it led you. Fuckery, madness, always screaming or unhappy or always crying or something like that. But the path is not to be like, I don't want to be like them, and then you become them. Like some of your karmics, that's what they've done. They've become the vampire that vampires off of them because they didn't do their healing work. And then instead of them to just focus on their healing for their self satisfaction and for their life, they focus on competition outwards. See, I can have a good life. And it's usually through the manifestation of low vibrational shit, relationships, materials, things like that. Some of you guys, I could feel, you're wondering why your parent was always even physically abusive or verbally when you were trying to be nice or seek connection with them. You know, it's not your fault. They're repulsed by your purity and the energy in them, and the trauma is kind of like also you were being kind of shielded. Because think about all your other siblings that are close with your dysfunctional parent and look at how they act. That's tea for another day. They're also being used too in this warfare to vampirize off you. There's 144 people in the chat as I say that. I want you to envision yourself like covered in the violet platinum white flame, okay? I'm going to teach you an emotional freedom technique. I want you to start at your breastplate in between your chest, in between your two breasts, where your sternum is. And I want you to press as hard as you can down and press down all the way down, straight down the middle. And then flick your hands at the end. One, using either hand, keep doing that, going 1, 2, 3 over your sternum, then taking it all the way down, moving it out of your chakras, out of your system, flicking it out of your hands. I want you to go to your throat, pressing down on your throat center, removing the binds from being silenced or hit or not heard. Press down, down, down. Then I want you to make a straight line all the way down, straight down. And then flick your hands out. Go to your pineal, the middle of your forehead. Do the same thing. Press with either hand, down, down, down. Like you're a cat making pancakes on your stomach. Pressing down, going back and forth, up and down. Now make a straight line all the way down. Hold down on your nostrils. Down the middle. Press your lips all the way down. Press down your chin all the way down your throat, all the way down your sternum. Out, push all the way out, straight down the middle. Now I want you to envision the platinum white flame around you. It is able to penetrate even deeper now. The platinum white light is entering down at your crown, shooting all the way down out at your feet, clearing the channel we just opened. Cutting cords of attachment, removing debris, holes and tears and trauma and abuse from your energy field. Removing regret, shame, unwarranted guilt, gaslighting, trauma and confusion from your energy field. Okay. So for those of you moving forward, you're going to have to realize when you're dealing with this karmic parent, Wait. Breathe in through your nose. Expand the chest. Hold it. Let go. In through your nose. Breathe out all that gunk. As you breathe in, I want you to envision air shooting in from your toes all the way up, stopping at your crown, clearing out your brain and everything, and all the debris shooting at your nose. So let's begin. In through your feet. Up. We're at the head. It's clearing out your brain, cooling it down from the heat, drying it up from the water, resurfacing the earth, balancing the air. I want you to breathe out and imagine a bunch of dust coming out of your nose and your mouth. That is my patented emotional freedom technique. Do not plagiarize my shit. But if I mean share that, share it around, and just say that, hey, Daisy taught us, so I can teach you guys more, because I got a lot more where that came from. So you have to learn how to play with your breath. One of the things when I was growing up, being abused and things like that, my parent would like stand me in front of them and just rain abuses down, which is like a form of negative NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, and negative autogenic training. And autogenic training is where basically you train the body to heal in regards to teaching it how to respond to certain words, right? So I would just learn how to zone out, shield my body, like in a meditative state, kind of catatonic, as well as like kind of hold my breath and stay still. And that it's weird, but that type of thing just taught me how to like shield out the Kamaza energy. That's why for some of you, these parents are going to spell work now because you've always shielded them out. But remember, these are past life demons that have been trying to vampirize off you. No different than the karmics outside of you. And for a lot of you guys, you can think of that your mothers are just like the karmic females that attack you and stuff like that. It's the same Lilith, succubus, jealous, envious spirit, Kamazat spirit, satanic spirit. In my instance, though, my stepmother, who's a very wicked witch, she put a spell on me to try to kill me in the womb. But it just translated into people always trying to kill me outside of the womb, and as well as my own parent, which translated into her having a very toxic, crazy like demeanor. I remember waking up to screams, like as if someone was being stabbed or shot or something, and it was just get up for school, you know. Or them screaming because they didn't wake themselves up or set an alarm on time. So having to get beat or yelled at, like that type of thing, because they didn't wake up on time, like, you know, things like that. So I just learned at a young age to separate the energies, what was mine from what was just theirs. And that's the process that a lot of you guys are going to be going through as well. And it's going to require separation and a deep analysis. There's some books that I'm going to put on the book club this month that are going to be purely for some really deep personal development. So I really hope you guys are ready. For some of you guys, that was your case, like you had a step parent or like maybe a jealous aunt that wanted the father, because that's real too, or a mother-in-law that didn't want y'all to be together, that played with spell work. What's going to end up happening is they're going to be forced to confess about what they did to cause problems and interfere in your childhood. A lot of these step parents, because it's a lot of this stuff is coming up now. And there's a really good, I shared this Nigerian movie a while ago about with Patience Ozokor, and she is so funny. She's always in movies with witchcraft. She's a Virgo. and she's always the wicked mother or stepmother or something like that, or his mother-in-law. I've seen few movies where Patience is actually, hey, Patience Ozokor Kai. Now, there's a movie with Patience Ozokor, and basically in the movie, the husband takes a second wife because she can't produce a son. So this lady goes and has a son, and she's the village woman, not the village woman, but she's like celebrated by the husband and well loved and things like that. So ever since she had the baby, she was doing spell work for her son to be separated from her, for the husband to hate her, and eventually she had to confess. So she had to confess because the spirit of everything that she did caught up with her. Because the lady was exiled and banished from the village. The husband beat her. Her own son turned into what do they call this thing? A popper. He was selling pure water. Pure water is like basically he was a malam, and basically a malam is a person that sells goods. They either carry water on their head to sell or some type of snacks, or they do this obioma, that's what they call them, obioma, and they like sew your clothes up. So it's basically like a village type of work that they call it, like the poorest of the poor in a sense. Her son was banished to that lifestyle, even though he went to go live with a good family in the big city because of the witchcraft. So she looked at how she ruined everything for everybody. Then the husband died because she put witchcraft in his food and he died from the juju. So she got struck down in the village. The spirit struck her and she had to confess all the lies that she was telling, all the wickedness that she had created. Imagine this lady went to the priest and she told the priest that she wants Archangel Michael to kill the lady. And the guy said, okay, Archangel Michael is coming. He has to take several flights to come downstairs. But he was playing. He said, this woman did nothing to you. And, but they're doing juju and they were doing sacrifice and things like that, and ruined that lady's life. And she got outcasted, and her son, later on down when he was very grown, he came back and apologized. But imagine that type of pain from when he was a little boy, and it's also a thing in Africa where women are very some way about their son. So she didn't get to raise him. They banished her back to her parents' house. That's the ultimate disgrace. And all because of magic. And she had to confess. A lot of these karmic stepmothers, they're going to have to confess because that energy is going to be very, very wicked on them. The karma of what they've been creating with witchcraft and magic out of jealousy. Okay, I'm going to live to see a day. What to be alive. So, yeah, that's what I had to say for you all. It's going to be okay. There's several layers. And, luckily we're talking about, a large part is the psychic surgery and the meditation and the healing. Patience is a narcissist. She is. So you guys, that's for you, okay? You gonna be all right. Just heal, understand what it is, see it for what it is, separate yourself. Because when you're dealing with the energy vampire, you guys already should know this by now. Especially if you're watching my channel, there's certain precautions that you have to take. Okay. I hope you enjoy. Please repeat, lather, rinse, repeat with that emotional freedom technique as much as you need to.